Hello, I'm Lucy Michael, and I am here today on behalf of Fingal County Council Community Development Office, talking to women leaders in our area. I'm really happy to be joined today by Geraldine Rooney of the Centre for Independent Living in Blanchardstown. Geraldine, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really looking forward to our chat. Can you start by just telling me very briefly about your current role and how it's improving our community?
My role at the moment is part of the PPN, and in that role, I go along to listen, to discuss, to represent, and then to feed back to groups so that that link is coming through from the community to Fingal, and it works both ways.
And how effective do you find that in getting voices of community into policy making and decisions?
Very much so. I feel that once we're at the table and we are being listened to, it makes sense. People from the community who are living the real experience, they make sense. And when they explain it further up, it is taken on board.
That's great. And Geraldine, you've been active in the community for quite a while now. Can you tell me something about what's important to you about community leadership?
Community leadership is very important to me. I suppose everything is based on your own life. And in my life at the beginning, when I moved out here, I had to look for a community. And then also I was dealing with the area of disability. So I wanted to make my daughter's life inclusive. I wanted her to be included in her community. I didn't want her to be outside of it. So I literally felt like I was a cowboy and I was out there leading the posse. I looked for different courses. I looked for the best areas that I could help my daughter to join in. And to help me to gain my capacity so that I could build it up and I would be able then to take part properly in community.
Well, the research on leadership says that one of the best ways and effective ways of changing things is to start from something you're passionate about and that you know well. And it sounds like that's really worked for you in thinking about leveraging those opportunities, building your skills, and affecting change at that community level. Are there other changes that you would like to see around the area of disability and inclusive community?
Very much so. I think there are hundreds of issues that you could go on about disability, but the main thing is that I feel in community that people are not isolated. There's not this disability sector over there to the right, and that they're included in everyday life and literally taking part in the courses along with everyone else. And that's down to the simplest of things, so that like the community centre is accessible for everyone. Then everyone can take part in the course.
Well, that's wonderful. And of course, that needs community leadership at every level, doesn't it? People getting involved. And no matter whether they're getting involved in a very small level or whether they're getting involved in that higher up decision making, it is really important to have people involved at every level. And in particularly when you're thinking about social inclusion and how we create inclusive communities, got to have those people in there. What about the roles that women leaders are playing in our communities now? You mentioned where we're missing from, but what about the places that we're really strong already?
Again, I think we would be really strong on the ground. We would be very strong involved in the local community centres, running different courses, whether it's providing childcare or whether it's to do with disability, right across the board of the social inclusion pillar. I feel a lot of women are there. They're literally starting from their own experiences and bringing it out into the community, and they're encouraging other women to get involved and to take part. So I think that's where we are. It's just, as I said, sometimes when we go up to the higher levels, you see the men coming in. But that's fine. I have no problem with that, as long as they listen to the women who are giving the advice and that it works both ways, that the information is going up and down.
What do you see as the biggest challenge for young women getting involved in community leadership? And what advice would you give them, Geraldine?
It can be very difficult for young women to get involved in community because they have young children at the time and they have stresses and strains on their lives. And especially now where most couples, both of them are working and trying to earn a living, pay mortgages, etc. But I do feel that if your children are small and if you are lucky enough to work part-time, that if you could give some piece of yourself into community for your children, for yourself, for a good quality of life. There are lots of courses that are run through the community, and Fingal County Council have been very good in running different projects and different courses like community development and leadership. And also, if young women take part in these courses, it's a way of meeting other people. It's a way of extending your network of friends. It's a way of literally getting ideas together, soaking them all up amongst yourselves and going after it with an aim and a purpose in your area.
One theme coming up again and again in our interviews with women involved in leadership is that when you start small, very quickly it builds to being able to do more. Have you found that leadership has changed for you as you've become more experienced and as you've become older?
Definitely, it has. In the beginning, when I started doing community courses, it was just literally to find my way around my community, know what would be there for my children in the community, to see what was there, what wasn't there, so that we could literally provide the things that were missing for our children. So I do. Then I found that I went into leadership courses, and once I went into the leadership section, I found it was easy to get women to come on board if you're bringing them with you, not if you're, I won't say dictating, but not if you're overseeing projects or something. If you're all in it together, I found it was easier to come through that way. Then times we're doing courses like intercultural studies, which are amazing. And it's great to see the new Irish coming in and taking part in these courses as well. And we're learning how to actually get together. We all have the same ideas. We really do. Everyone just wants the best for their children and their families in their area.
A big challenge for us about network building and building those coalitions and alliances so that we're advocating for and with each other, even when we don't feel like we have the same issues. Very often, as you say, our communities are shared spaces, and very often those problems are shared problems. I suppose thank you for that advice. That's really useful, I think, for people going forward and thinking about starting small and building up. Finally, Geraldine, thank you so much for being with me today. Why do you think International Women's Day is important?
I think International Women's Day is really important for women of all ages. I think it's really good to see women who are running projects in the community, taking part, literally empowering other people on the way, bringing them with them, and that they have an aim and a purpose that they will follow through on. And hopefully women can all get together and be successful.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Geraldine. Geraldine Rooney, thank you very much for your contribution today, and happy International Women's Day to you.